telling my adopted sister that my parents do not actually love her. I know the title sounds really bad. Even I think it sounds harsh. But if you give me a chance to explain, maybe you will understand why I did what I did. My name is Alex, and I am 16 years old. I live with my mom, dad, and my adopted sister, Lily. That is what everyone calls her, my sister. But honestly, I have never really felt like she was part of my family, even though I have tried. I really have. 2 years ago, everything in my life changed. Back then, it was just me and my parents. We had a small house, not a lot of money, but I never felt like we were missing anything. We would eat dinner together, watch movies on Friday nights, and take walks on the weekends. I was not spoiled or anything, but I felt loved. I felt like I mattered. Then Lily came into the picture. Lily's mom was very close to my mom. They were best friends growing up. They went to the same school, played in the same neighborhood, and even worked in the same office for a few years. They stayed friends even after Lily was born. Her mom would sometimes drop her off at our house, and we would watch cartoons together or play in the backyard. I did not mind that. She was just a little girl who needed company, but then something really sad happened. Lily's mom got very sick. At first, I did not even know. I just noticed she was not coming around anymore. Then one day, my mom sat me down and told me Lily's mom had passed away. I remember the look on my mom's face. She was crying, and she told me that she had made a promise a long time ago. She promised Lily's mom that if anything ever happened to her, my mom would take care of Lily like her own child. At the time, I did not really understand what that meant. I was only 14. I nodded and said okay, because what else could I say? It took a while, but eventually they adopted her. It was not easy. Some of Lily's real family members wanted to take her in too, and we were not exactly doing great with money. My dad was working long hours and my mom was picking up extra jobs from home, but somehow they made it happen. Everyone said it was such a beautiful thing. Your parents are so kind, people would tell me. Lily is lucky to have a family like yours. But no one ever asked me how I felt about it. At first, I tried to be understanding. I really did. Lily was only 6 years old. She had just lost her mom, and she had to move into a new house with people she did not really know. She had nightmares, cried a lot, and clung to my mom all the time. And my parents gave her everything, every bit of attention, every ounce of love, and all their time. That is when I started to notice things changing. Before Lily moved in, I was always a part of everything. If we were cooking dinner, I helped out. If we were going somewhere, they always asked for my opinion. But now it felt like I had become invisible. My mom would say things like, "Alex, can you give us a minute? Lily needs to talk." Or, "Alex, help your sister get her things ready." Soon, it was just expected that I would do things for Lily, make her a snack, walk her to school, help her with homework. If I complained, they would tell me I was being selfish, and slowly it got worse. If Lily cried, my mom would rush to her. If I cried, they would tell me to be mature. If Lily was scared, they would sit with her for hours. If I was upset, I was told to get over it. I started feeling like I did not belong in my own home anymore. I remember once when I got sick. I had a fever and all I wanted was for my mom to sit by my bed like she used to when I was little. But she came in, checked my temperature, gave me some medicine, and left because Lily was having trouble falling asleep. I just lay there alone, sweating and coughing, feeling like I was not even important. What hurt the most was that I could not even talk to anyone about it. If I told my parents how I felt, they would say I needed to be patient, that Lily had been through so much. And if I talked to my friends, they just said I should be proud to have such kind parents. But I did not feel proud. I felt forgotten. One time I tried to tell my mom how I felt. I said, "I feel like you do not care about me anymore." She looked shocked and said, "How can you say that? Of course we care about you, but Lily needs us more right now." That was the last time I said anything, because no matter what I said, I always felt like I was the problem, and it did not stop there. I was told to share almost everything with Lily, my clothes, my books, even my tablet. The only things I was allowed to keep for myself were my room and my phone. Everything else was suddenly for both of you now. If I ever said no, I would be punished. It felt like no one saw me anymore. I was just the extra kid. The helper, the babysitter, the backup. So when that moment happened, when Lily walked into my room and heard me talking to my friends, I felt angry, but I also felt tired. I had been holding all of this in for 2 whole years. She walked in without knocking. I was telling my friends how my parents only adopted her because of the promise they made to her mom. I said that they did not actually love her like their real daughter, that they only did it out of guilt. I know it was wrong, but I was just venting. I did not mean for her to hear it, but she did. She stood there, her eyes wide, and asked, "Is that true? Do they not love me?" And without even thinking, I looked at her and said, "No, they do not." As soon as the words left my mouth, I regretted it. Lily just stared at me, turned around, and left the room. I heard her door slam and then silence. Since that day, she has not spoken a word. She stays in her room all day. She cries when she thinks no one is listening. She is not eating much. My parents are worried, but they do not know why she is acting this way. Not yet anyway, and I have not told them. I know if they find out, I will be in huge trouble, not just grounded for a week kind of trouble, serious trouble. Because now Lily is the most important person in this house. She always has been. And I am just the one who messed everything up. My friends say I was cruel, that I should apologize, that I hurt a little girl who already lost so much, but I do not know. Part of me still feels like no one ever thinks about how much I have lost too. Maybe that makes me a terrible person. Maybe they are right. After Lily heard what I said and ran out of my room, everything inside the house changed. Not in big, loud ways, but in small, quiet ones that felt even heavier. She stopped talking completely. She would not come to dinner. She would not come out of her room unless she had to. And when she did, she kept her head down, avoided my eyes, and walked around like a shadow. The sound of her crying behind her door became a regular part of the night. I could hear her muffled sobs through the wall. She would try to be quiet, but the sadness in her voice made it impossible not to notice. It was like the whole house had been dipped in cold, heavy silence. At first, I tried to pretend I did not hear her. I told myself it was not my fault, that I was just being honest, that maybe someone had to say the truth out loud. But deep down, it did not feel right. I felt a tightness in my chest every time I walked past her room, and even though I tried to act like everything was fine, I knew it was not. My parents started to notice her behavior too. My mom knocked on her door gently every morning, calling her name in the softest voice I had ever heard her use. "Lily, sweetie, are you okay? Do you want to talk?" But Lily would not answer. My dad offered to take her to the park or get her favorite snacks from the store. She just shook her head. Sometimes she even curled up on the couch and covered her face with a blanket like she wanted to disappear. I kept waiting for someone to say something to me. I thought any day now they would figure it out. That Lily would tell them what I said, but she never did. She was hurting and she still protected me. That made it worse. One evening, 3 days after it happened, my mom sat me down at the kitchen table. She looked tired, really tired. There were dark circles under her eyes and her face looked older than it used to. "Alex," she said quietly, folding her hands together, "do you know why Lily has been acting this way?" I felt my stomach twist into a knot. I swallowed hard and looked down at the table. "No," I said softly. She studied me for a moment. I could feel her eyes on me like she knew I was not telling the whole truth, but she did not press me. She just sighed. "She will not talk to us. She is hurting and we do not know why. If you find out anything, please let us know. She looks up to you more than you think." I nodded, but I still did not say anything. I went to my room that night feeling like the walls were closing in. Everything felt heavier than before. I sat on my bed, stared at the ceiling, and thought about Lily's face when she asked me if our parents really loved her. The way her voice shook, the look of hope in her eyes, hope that I crushed. She was only 8. She had already lost her mom, and now I had made her believe she might lose the only family she had left. I thought about the times when she used to follow me around the house, asking me to play with her or help her with her drawings. She would bring me little notes that said, "Best brother ever," with hearts drawn in red marker. I used to roll my eyes at those notes, but now I wished I had kept one. That night I could not sleep. I stared at the hallway outside my door, thinking about whether I should go talk to her. I even stood up once and walked halfway there, but I froze right outside her door. I heard her crying again. I raised my hand to knock, but I could not do it. I turned around and went back to my room. The next morning at breakfast, Lily still did not come out. My mom brought her a bowl of oatmeal and placed it outside her door. "She barely touched her dinner last night," she said, her voice full of worry. "I hope she eats something today." My dad rubbed his forehead. "If this keeps up, we might have to take her to someone who can help." I stared down at my cereal, not touching it. My throat felt dry. The day passed slowly. I tried to distract myself with schoolwork and games, but everything felt empty. I could not stop thinking about her, about how I had said those words and how I had meant them at the time, but now I just felt sorry, not only for her, but for myself too. I had been carrying so much pain and frustration for 2 years. I had kept it bottled up, trying to stay quiet, trying to not make a fuss. But all it did was turn me into someone I did not like. That evening, I finally decided I had to talk to her. I waited until after dinner when my parents were cleaning up the kitchen. I walked slowly to her door, my heart pounding. I raised my hand and knocked gently. No answer. "Lily," I said softly, "can we talk?" Still no answer. I leaned my forehead against the door. "Please." There was a small shuffle inside, like she had turned over in bed. I tried again. I did not mean what I said. I was angry, I was hurt, but I should not have said that. I am sorry." The silence felt like it lasted forever. Then, in the softest whisper, I heard her say, "You really think they do not love me?" Her voice sounded so small it made my heart hurt. "No," I said quickly, "that is not true. They love you a lot." "Then why did you say that?" she asked. I took a deep breath. "Because I was jealous. I felt like they stopped loving me when you came. I felt like I was invisible." There was another pause, then I heard the doorknob turn. The door opened just a little and I saw her face. Her eyes were red and puffy and she had tear stains on her cheeks. She looked at me, not angry, just sad. "You do not know what it is like to lose your mom," she whispered. "I know," I said quietly. "And I am sorry, I was wrong." "You did not deserve that." She looked down at the floor. "Do you really think I do not belong here?" I shook my head. "No, you do belong. I was just scared. I thought they were replacing me, but that is not your fault." For the first time in days, she stepped forward and opened the door all the way. "Do you still hate me?" she asked. I felt a lump in my throat. "No, I never hated you. I just did not know how to handle everything." She nodded slowly. Then, without saying a word, she walked over and hugged me. Her arms were small, but her grip was strong. Like she had been waiting for that hug the whole time. I hugged her back. In that moment, I realized something important. Maybe we were both hurting. Maybe we both needed love. And just maybe we could heal together. After Lily hugged me that night, I felt something shift inside me. I did not feel lighter exactly. Not yet, but I did feel like a door that had been locked for a long time had finally opened. She stayed there, hugging me for a long time. Neither of us spoke. I think we were both scared that if we started talking again, the moment would break. But when she finally pulled away, there was something different in her eyes. Less fear, less hurt, just tiredness. I walked her to the couch and we sat down. I did not know where to start, but I felt like I had to try. "I know I was really mean," I said slowly, "and I cannot take it back, but I am really sorry, Lily." She looked at her hands. "You said they do not love me." "I know," I said, and my voice cracked a little. "And I was wrong. I was so angry, but it was not about you. It was about how I felt forgotten." She looked up at me with those soft brown eyes and said, "I thought you were the only one who liked me." That made me feel worse than anything else, because even after everything I had said, she had still looked up to me. "You did not do anything wrong," I told her. "You were just being you, and I was supposed to be the older brother. I should have been better." She leaned against me, and I gently put my arm around her. We sat like that for a while. The house was quiet. My parents were still downstairs, probably thinking Lily was still locked in her room. And for the first time in a long time, I felt like maybe we were finally seeing each other, not as strangers living under the same roof, but as two kids trying to find where we belong. The next morning, my mom was shocked when she saw Lily come into the kitchen and sit at the table without being asked. "Lily," she asked, eyes wide, "you are up." Lily nodded quietly. "I was hungry." My dad smiled and rushed over to fix her a plate of toast and eggs. "That is great, kiddo, you scared us." Lily just looked at me for a second, then said softly, "Sorry." My parents blinked at each other. "Sweetie," my mom said gently, "you do not need to say sorry for anything." But I knew who that apology was for, and I nodded to her, letting her know I heard it. Over the next few days, things started to slowly change. Lily was still quiet, but she was no longer hiding. She came out of her room more. She watched TV with me once. We even worked on a puzzle together in the living room, nothing big, but enough to make a difference. I started trying too, not because someone told me to, but because I wanted to. I offered to help her with homework. I gave her some space to talk. I even let her use my tablet for an hour after dinner one night, something I never used to do before. And little by little, I noticed something happening. She smiled more. She laughed once when I told her a silly joke. She started drawing again, pictures of trees and sunshine, and once the two of us standing next to each other. She showed it to me and I did not know what to say. I just gave her a high five and told her it was awesome. But deep inside, it meant more than I could say. Still, everything was not perfect. I still had moments where I felt jealous. I still noticed how my parents seemed to light up when Lily walked into the room and how they sometimes forgot to ask how my day went. But I was starting to understand something I had not before. Lily had lost her entire world, her mom, her home, everything familiar. And I had lost something too, the version of my family that I used to know. That was real grief, even if it looked different. We were both hurting, just in different ways. One evening, I sat down with my parents in the living room. Lily had gone to bed early. I had been thinking about this for a while, and I finally felt ready. "I need to talk to you," I said. My parents turned to me, surprised. "What is it, honey?" my mom asked. I took a deep breath. "It is about Lily and me." Their faces grew serious. My dad leaned forward, listening. "I need to tell you the truth," I said. "She heard me say something really hurtful, something I wish I could take back." And then I told them everything. I told them about the night Lily walked into my room and heard me saying she was only adopted out of guilt. I told them I said they did not really love her. I told them how she locked herself away and cried for days and how I was too scared to tell the truth. Their eyes filled with tears. My mom covered her mouth and my dad looked down at the floor. When I finished, I felt like my whole chest had opened up. "I am not asking you to forgive me," I said. "I just wanted you to know because I do not want to lie anymore." There was a long pause, then my mom stood up and wrapped her arms around me. "Oh, Alex," she whispered, "you should have told us sooner." "I was scared," I admitted. "I thought you would hate me." My dad came over and hugged us both. "We could never hate you. You are our son." We did not realize how much you were hurting. "We thought we were doing the right thing," my mom added, "by giving Lily extra care, but we never meant to make you feel left out." Tears filled my eyes and I wiped them away quickly. I just wanted to feel like I mattered again. "You do," my dad said. "You always have." That night, something shifted again. Not everything was fixed. There were still things to work on, but for the first time in a long time, I felt seen, I felt heard. And I felt like maybe this could really be a family again, not perfect, but real. After I told my parents the truth, it felt like a heavy weight had finally been lifted off my chest. I had been carrying that guilt, pain, and anger for so long that I had almost gotten used to it. But now, after everything came out, it felt like I could finally breathe. Things did not suddenly become perfect, but something had changed. We all started talking more, not just small talk, but honest conversations, the kind we had not had in a long time. That weekend, my parents sat us down in the living room. My mom had a warm smile on her face, and my dad looked calm, like he had been waiting for the right time. "We want to have more family time," my mom said. "Not just taking care of things or helping each other, but real time. Together, we all need it." Lily sat close to me on the couch. She still looked a little nervous, but she reached out and gently touched my hand. "We thought maybe we could start a new tradition," my dad said. "Like a weekly family game night or story night, just something simple but something we do as a team." I saw Lily's eyes light up just a little. "Can we do drawing night too?" she asked shyly. My mom laughed. "Absolutely, anything that helps us spend time together." I nodded. "I think that sounds nice." And we started doing just that. Every Friday night we picked a fun activity. Sometimes it was board games, sometimes we all worked on puzzles together. Once we baked cupcakes even though we accidentally burned half of them and made a huge mess in the kitchen. We just laughed and ate the ones that were not burnt. Lily and I grew closer, slowly but surely. She stopped looking at me with fear or sadness. She started joking with me again like she used to when she first moved in. I helped her with her school projects, and she taught me how to draw flowers the way her mom had taught her. We even started calling each other brother and sister without hesitation. At first it felt strange, but over time it began to feel real. One day after school, she handed me a little folded piece of paper. On the front, it said, "To my big brother." Inside, she had drawn a picture of the four of us, me, her mom, and dad, standing in front of our house. Above us, she had written, "We are a family now. I am happy you are my brother." I kept that drawing. I still have it in the drawer next to my bed. Every time I look at it, it reminds me how far we have come. But even as things got better, I knew there were still moments I had to work through. I still felt a little jealous sometimes, especially when my parents gave Lily more attention. But now I talked about it instead of holding it in, and they listened. Once I told my mom, "I know Lily needs a lot of love, but sometimes I need it too." She hugged me tight and said, "Thank you for telling me. You are just as important. We will make sure you feel that every day." And she meant it. They started including me more, asking how my day went, letting me have one-on-one time with them, even if it was just a short walk or talking after dinner. It reminded me that I was not invisible, I mattered. Lily also started understanding my side. One night while we were both brushing our teeth, she looked at me through the mirror and said, "I know it was hard for you when I came. I am sorry I took so much from you." I turned to her, toothbrush still in my hand, and said, "You did not take anything, I just needed to learn how to share it better." We both smiled. It was not a big, dramatic moment, but it meant everything. Looking back now, I realize that families are not always perfect. They are made of people, and people mess up. People get hurt. People say things they wish they could take back. But if there is love, and if you are willing to try again, you can rebuild something stronger. Lily is not just a girl my parents adopted because of a promise. She is my sister. And I am not just the background character in someone else's story. I am part of this family too. Now, when I see her run into my parents' arms or hear them call her sweetheart, I do not feel angry like I used to. I still have moments where it stings a little, but I remind myself this house has room for all of us. Their love for her does not mean there is less love for me. We are just learning how to be a family one day at a time, and we are getting there together.